Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football, A Love Story, and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books. If you like our video content and want to show support for Football Game Plan, stop by our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan and don't hesitate to drop a little something in the tip jar. It could be $1, $5, or whatever amount you would like to donate to Football Game Plan. Every little bit helps, and we definitely appreciate your support. Kicking off with number 9, I look at Kelvin Taylor out of Florida, 6 feet, 215 pounds, whose game reminds me a lot of TJ Yeldon, formerly of Alabama, now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Taylor's a guy that has tremendous footwork. He doesn't lose speed when changing direction, which is also key, and he's very shifty and has above average vision. Now, at times, he can be a bit robotic, and he doesn't have that great speed. He has good, not great speed, and he can get tracked down when in the open field. And I don't think he's overly explosive, but he does have good bursts and is very good in the passing game. I'm a big fan of Josh Ferguson's game out of Illinois. He's elusive. He's able to make that first guy miss with ease. He also is coming off a very good week of practice at the East-West Shrine game. And this is the guy that's a very good receiver coming out of the backfield. He's able to get started quickly, which means he doesn't have to be a volume carry guy. You can give him 5 to 10 carries a game sporadically, and he's able to get going pretty quickly. Reminds me a lot of Danny Woodhead for the San Diego Chargers. He also has really good vision and good initial burst. Now, his sustained speed, I think, is questionable, and he tends to leave his feet unnecessarily when he runs in the hole. And he's not as powerful through arm tackles. Those are things he's going to have to improve on as he gets to the NFL. This is a guy that also has very good return skills. There's a lot to like about Tyler Ervin's game coming out of San Jose State. Compares favorably, in my opinion, to Dre Archer. He's a guy that has that home run hitting ability. He's a good receiver coming out of the backfield, also downfield. Very good hands. He displayed that at the Senior Bowl. He's also not afraid to run inside despite being 5'9", 5'10", 183 pounds. He also shows good patience in setting up blocks and above average vision and is able to plant and accelerate with the best of them. Now, his balance is a little bit marginal. He's not as strong in the lower body, and he tends to get knocked over because of it. And I think he breaks very few tackles. But overall, good, solid skill set for a tailback, a guy that can help out as a kickoff and punt returner. I'm a big fan of the solid all-around game of DeAndre Washington out of Texas Tech, who plays a lot like Bennie Cunningham. He has good ankle flexion. He's able to burst out of his cuts and solid vision as a whole. Now, his pad level tends to get a little high, which causes him to be inconsistent in the tackle-breaking department. That's something he's going to have to work on as he moves forward, but this is a guy that can do it as a runner, receiver, blocker, and also a returner. Noah Spence isn't the only prospect coming out of Eastern Kentucky this season. Deshaun Mobley, the tailback at 5'11", 215 pounds, formerly of the University of Kentucky before transferring down, has complete game. He can run, he can block, he can also catch. I love his good initial burst and acceleration, and he generates really good run power and finishes runs, which is something pro scouts and coaches will love to see. Now, this year he has had some nagging injuries. I think his lateral agility is a little bit marginal, and he's a little bit deliberate in trying to make someone miss with his feet. He overstrides, which causes him to struggle when he tries to change direction, but overall has very good vision, and I will compare his game to Rashad Jennings of the New York Giants. Keith Marshall out of Georgia checks in at number 15 on my list. He compares favorably, in my opinion, to Andre Ellington of the Arizona Cardinals. And here's a guy that has very good vision. He has the patience you look for. He's an excellent downfield receiver coming out of the backfield. He has above average acceleration and also can help out as a kickoff returner. Now, he has an extensive injury history. Quite honestly, this was a guy that was, in my opinion, a lot better as a runner than Todd Gurley when they were both freshmen, when they were known as Gershel, but all those injuries have really taken a toll. He has marginal balance right now, and have those injuries robbed him of that elite level burst that he had as a freshman? Those are some things he's going to have to answer, and you want to see him continuously get better. I think if he can stay healthy for a full season, you'll start to see that. But again, if he's able to check out 100% medically, the sky's the limit. And this is a guy that I think will be a true steal in the NFL draft. Daniel Lasco out of Cal at 6 feet 210 is coming off a very good week of practice at the East-West Shrine game. He has excellent footwork, he can plant and accelerate very well, and also has the ability as a kickoff returner. Now, nagging injuries could stop him from being a featured player at the next level, and he's not overly fluid. I think from a change of direction standpoint, he really has to gear down to move laterally at times, but overall I think he would be ideal in an inside-outside zone stretch type of a scheme. He has good run power and is a B+ receiver coming out of the backfield. Kenyon Drake out of Alabama is an interesting prospect. He's very explosive and versatile. I think he has a future as a running back and or as a wide receiver if he wants to. He's very dangerous in the open field. He's a game breaker. He has good receiving skills. Like I said before, I really do believe he can play in the slot, which is why I compared his game to Theo Riddick. Now, where he has to get better, I think he has questionable lower body strength. He doesn't break a lot of tackles. He goes down a little bit too easily for my taste, and he struggles to create on his own if the lane isn't there. But again, he's a game breaker, so find ways to get him the football in the open field, and he can have a lot of success. There's a lot to like about DJ Foster's game. He's very versatile, a guy that can play tailback or wide receiver at the next level. I think that versatility makes him a tremendous value for anyone that gets him in the NFL. Now, his strengths, I do like the fact that he can catch the football, not just your swing flat flare type receiving back coming out of the backfield, but a downfield threat in the passing game. His running skills, he's not afraid to run inside. I think his vision is okay at best, but he does have the ability to rip off the long run. I don't think on a consistent basis he can do so. I think he's more of a number 2 comp guy, but I do like in his game to a guy that plays for the Arizona Cardinals in David Johnson. Brandon Ross out of Maryland is consistent. He's reliable. He has a good feel for the running game. There's no wasted movements when he's carrying the rock, and has good footwork and is a very strong runner. Now, I do believe he is a one-dimensional player, which is not necessarily a bad thing. He's okay in the passing game, your standard running back receiver, which is your swings, your screens, and your flat type of receiver. He's a little stiff athletically, and I think he has okay change of direction skills. But when you watch his game, he's constantly moving the chains. He's a chain mover, and that's why I compared his game to Alfred Morris. MKAL Abdul-Sabor is a guy that jumped onto my radar last season when I checked out William & Mary versus Stony Brook. He's a very good in-between-the-tackles runner, quick-footed shiftiness, and does a great job in getting him out of trouble inside. He's dependable. He's also a very reliable receiver and has good run power and above-average vision. Now, he will struggle to turn the corner and get the edge as a pro. I think he has marginal explosiveness and burst. His pad load tends to be a little bit high, and I think he's also a little bit stiff athletically. He's very good in pass pro, and I do think his inside running skills has value as a pro. I see him as a second or third type option in the NFL. CJ Prosise out of Notre Dame has good acceleration to turn the corner. He could excel in either an outside zone or stretch scheme. He also has tremendous value as a kickoff returner. He's very good in the passing game, but I do believe he struggles to create if the lane isn't there. His lateral agility, in my opinion, is marginal at best. He's also a little stiff athletically and doesn't run with good pad level, and he struggles to break tackles on a consistent basis. I think part of the reason why is the fact that he's just learning to play the running back position. I do think his receiving skills give him a unique advantage in your offense because you can move him around a formation and create multiple matchup opportunities, but in order for him to fully maximize his potential, he's going to have to improve in the running back area. Travis Greene out of Bowling Green reminds me a lot of Denard Robinson of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I graded him out as a 5th-round prospect. He has great burst and acceleration. He's definitely not afraid to run inside. He's also very solid in the open field, and I think he would be a good inside zone, outside zone read type of a runner, and has very good foot quickness. Now, he's a little bit too deliberate in his change of direction. He really has to gear down to make a move. I think he's a little bit tight-hipped and a little stiff as well. Almost a little straight line-ish to my taste. I think he has questionable balance, but again, in the open field, he definitely can make something happen. He has that good burst and quickness that you look for and will be a great complementary back. One of the best all-purpose players in college football throughout the course of his career at the running back position, JOHNTA out of Prairie View A&M. Here's a guy at 5'10", 195 that can do a lot of damage as a runner, as a receiver, and also as a returner. Now, he's more quick than fast. He doesn't have that blazing speed, and I don't think he's as sudden as you would like a guy at his size to be when running inside or running outside. He's a little bit of a build-up guy, but does have good enough speed to break the long run. I think his true value as a pro will be able to be utilized as a multifaceted player on offense. You can move him around a formation. You can even give him a series of 2 carries out the traditional running back spot, and he could have success. Leon Allen out of Western Kentucky, in my opinion, is a Fred Jackson clone, just solid in all facets of his game, runs with good body lean and does a great job of initiating contact. I also like the fact that he has soft hands in the passing game and good acceleration, but I do think he's a little bit straight line-ish. He struggles to change direction, really has to stop his feet to elude defenders, and he's not overly sudden, and also has that injury history, but a guy that can be a solid number 2 or number 3 back for your football team in the NFL. Again, solid in all facets and compares to Fred Jackson. Anthony Bilal out of Lake Erie, a Division II program, compares favorably to Brandon Oliver of the San Diego Chargers. He has elite level balance, above average burst and quickness, and very good lateral agility. I rarely see this guy get knocked over completely. He does a good job of maintaining that balance and is able to break away with the long runs. Now, he does have an injury history. He doesn't power through tackles like you would like to see. I think he has to get a little bit stronger in the upper body, but he also brings to the table an added value of being a very good kickoff returner. I think initially this is how he can make his mark in the NFL. Storm Bars Woods is a good back coming out of Oregon State and had a really good week of practice at the East-West Shrine game this year. He's also really good at stringing moves together, and I love his patience as a runner. Coming out of the backfield, he's a very good receiver. Also in the slot, you can utilize him in your passing game, and I think he definitely sees the field well as a tailback. Now, he has had those nagging injuries throughout the course of his career, and he's not as strong as you would like in the lower body. I also believe he has marginal explosiveness, but overall, a guy that can be productive as a tailback in the NFL and reminds me a lot of Travaris Cadet. Wendell Smallwood out of West Virginia reminds me a lot of Tevin Coleman last season coming out of Indiana, a good lane runner where you give him a lane, he has that speed and acceleration to burst right through it. Where I think he differs from Coleman is that he's a very good receiver out of the backfield, and like a lot of these backs in the class, he can do a good job as a receiver or as a runner. I do see him as a spot player. I don't see him as a traditional quote-unquote tailback, but he does have enough value to where you can definitely find ways to utilize him on your football team. Gary Underwood out of Villanova is a very versatile player, tremendous receiver. He's excellent in the open field. He's a quick starter, which means he doesn't have to get those consecutive carries that I talk about with other backs. He can come into the game cold and be very productive. He also can serve multiple roles for your offense. He can be a kickoff returner. He can be a slot receiver, also as an I back. Now, he's not overly explosive or sudden. He has okay balance, and he's not necessarily a powerful runner. I do think he has okay change of direction skills, but he does have the good vision to where you can trust him with the football. Again, he reminds me a lot of Bilal Powell, a guy that can come in, be a spot player, and do very well. Cedric O'Neal is another fantastic player coming from the Division II ranks out of Valdosta State. Good program down there in Georgia. He has good vision, solid inside running skills, quick feet, and good hands for a back his size. I also believe he's a solid pass pro guy as well. Now, he's not overly explosive, and he will have an issue getting the edge as a pro. And I think he's not overly fluid as well, but he does have a good feel for the running game. Again, very productive, and reminds me a lot of Mike Bell. Jarrell Presley out of New Mexico has tremendous acceleration. He's a one-cut downhill runner that can get started pretty quickly. Now, he does have average change of direction skills, so he's a little bit straight line-ish. I think his pad level is a little high. He has that Darren McFadden-like agility where he'll struggle to break tackles and tends to go down a little bit easier with his legs, but he has that elite level burst and acceleration like I mentioned before. He plays a lot like Antone Smith of the Atlanta Falcons. There's a lot to like about Cameron McDonald's game. He's a guy that's coming out of CSU-Pueblo, an outstanding Division II program. And when you look at his game, he's a short, thick runner, almost like a bowling ball. He reminds me a lot of Zach Stacy. He's a very productive player, back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons, and that's when people know you're getting the football. He averaged over 6.5 yards a carry in both seasons. Now, this is a guy, again, he's not the most explosive. He's not the most dynamic, but he definitely gets the job done. So I think his speed and lack of elite level quickness will relegate him to a number 2 or 3 role as a pro. And rounding out my list is an outstanding tailback coming from Division III Rowan Witt-Marcelin. This is a guy that dominated his level of competition. Great acceleration and burst. He has the kickoff return skills, the receiving skills that you want. He can do it as a runner as well. He shows the ability to pull away and has room to grow in his game. I think he has that upside that you look for. Now, he has to get stronger. I think his balance is a little bit marginal at best. His lateral agility is okay, and he tends to get knocked over, but he has the vision, he has the natural running skills that you look for, and is definitely worthy of a spot in the NFL.